welcome fellow humans, and welcome to technically another tea with JD because I do have tea, and it is Darjeeling tea. But this is actually a Manuscript Monday, although it looks blank here, it is not on this side, and this is to talk a bit about the method to my madness. I've mentioned before that every project I tackle differently because it's part of the challenge, it's part of the fun for me, and because I think that every story is a puzzle that you solve differently. At least for me, using the same methods for everything doesn't work, or at least I find it more fun doing it this way. For this particular project, if you see the front page, it's got notes, and then what I did, the glare is awesome. These are notes and revisions, but what I also did was, and to also recycle, is use the paper that I printed, and as I did annotations and read it, I wrote on the back of the pages. Here's the thing, when I'm writing, this is going to be a novella, a sci-fi novella. It's going to be my first sci-fi novella. Novella is a short novel, which to me is going to be in the range of about 60 pages. At this rate, I'm actually not sure how long it's going to be. I have to put everything in proper format to let you know. But I'm shooting for like 60, 70 pages. I don't know. I have to check my current word count, but I think it's going to be like 25K, 30K, give or take. And yes, that is a short novel for me because normally no. My first novel is 164,000 words. The second novel is about 87,000 words. So that would be a lot shorter. You know, half as long would be a short novel. But I did mention that I wanted to share a bit of my method to madness. I said that every project is tackled differently, and I mean, here's the thing. This document began as a bunch of bullet points. I showed it that way so I don't give spoilers, because there are spoilers here. And I plotted out the entire story in about 35 bullets, give or take. What I did was take each bullet and write its corresponding scene. For instance, fixes rover, that's the bullet. What happens for the character here to fix the rover, that'll be as many pages as I need. It could be a page, it could be 10 pages. By the way, the protagonist is called Roger Walker, and this video, these Manuscript Mondays, are to do one of two things. First off is to give you an update on the progress of this. Right now, if I were to gather a guess, I think I'm 45%, 50% done with this. I think the point that I'm hitting now is going to go a lot faster because that's when a fan gets defecated on. It's been a project that I've pushed to the side so I can focus on other things: the bilingual collection, a Spanish poetry collection, several poetry collections, Shadow of a Human, a couple of daydreams, so on and so forth. But I do think that this year is high time for me to finish this project. So these videos are going to be to offer you an update on how I'm doing, how I'm progressing, and also to share a bit of my method to madness. I showed you what I do with one bullet. That's what I do. There's one bullet. I delete the bullet and I write the scene however short or long it has to be. I'm very flexible in that sense because I'm not going to say, oh, I'm going to do 5,000 words, because then what happens if I do 200 words, or what happens if I do 10,000 words? There are things that you should be rigid on, and there's things that you shouldn't be rigid on. I laid out 35 points that I have to follow in the story. Those are the points that I do think are going to take across the story that I want to tell. And it does offer me enough opportunity to develop everyone the way that I want to and the scenery as I want to. Unlike other projects, I haven't kept notes on the research that I've done for this book, and I've done it on the fly, meaning I'm going to write about something related to gravity. I look for it in that moment. When you're dealing with science specifically, I am of the mind that you should look for the latest information from a credible source. Not Wikipedia. Sometimes Wikipedia, but not most times not Wikipedia. You know, I just want you to know that I do use Wikipedia for research for other fantasy stuff, because all you need is information and fodder for the brain. But for this project, codename NI, the project takes place in Jupiter moon Europa. It takes place about 60 years in the future, something like that. I'm pretty much guaranteed that I'm going to be dead by that time. I think that's the date that I chose, so that I won't have to face anything embarrassing, like, Steven Spielberg right now is cringing that cars aren't flying and hoverboards aren't cars, although we're getting there. That was just me being cheeky in terms of the date. If I try to say something that's going to happen in the future and it doesn't happen, it's not like I'm going to go like, oh, woe is me. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea didn't get it perfect, but wow, it was pretty solid in terms of what you can do in a submarine for someone who had never seen a submarine. That's amazing, but that's another story. NI is the first work that I do in first person, and I chose to do it in first person because I wanted the challenge. I always do third person, and I do love it, and it is my preferred method of writing. So obviously I'm a hard ass, and I wanted to challenge myself, so I'm doing this in first person. I'm making something first person that's believable and memorable, has its own sets of pros and cons and opportunities and drawbacks. I'm trying to be loyal to the way that we process information individually, and sometimes you blank out for the 30 or 40 seconds because you're in shock. Other times your internal monologue is hilarious and you have to keep it in check, because if not, it will get you in trouble. So I'm trying to have fun with that. And being as it's sci-fi, I've also taken great liberty to do things that I think make sense, but I haven't researched fully because I don't want that super duper hard sci-fi. I do want it to be accurate, meaning that I did look for what the gravity and gravitational pull is on Europa, which is actually less than our moon. And by the way, did you know that our moon is bigger than Pluto? A lot of people don't know that, because we say, oh, it's a planet, yeah, and the moon is basically a planet, and so on and so forth. Look up science videos; they're fun. But yeah, so this has been a bit all over the place because I'm really not sure how much I reveal, because I am very, very coy with what I reveal about my stories until they're ready. That you can do a screenshot and possibly decipher the chicken scratchings that I have here is me pushing the envelope. The cough is still there. But that is the method for this. Next week, whilst I work on NI further, I'm going to show you how I did codename The Boy Who Dreams About Flying, and show you how different that process is to this process. This one's it is a planned pantser, you could say, because I do have the points that I have to follow, but I am writing on the fly and researching on the fly. So it's interesting, it's different, and I like interesting and different, and I like challenging myself. So right now, when I finally format this, because right now it doesn't even have a special font, and normally I do use Bookman Old Style. It's just a font that I really like. I'm gonna see how this looks there, although possibly I'll use another font, because since it is sci-fi and set in the future, I might consider something else, or maybe I'll just stick to the font that I'm in love with. It's a lot of font. Anyways, if you have any questions on how I do this, I can give you examples and other stuff. I can do a blog post with a bit more detail. And for more information on this, then wait 2 or 3 weeks and I'll have a little bit more to tease with. But for now, enjoy your tea. Peace, love, and maki rolls.